What if the most romantic moment in Hope Valley history was only the beginning of something much bigger? Because just when fans thought When Calls the Heart Season 13 was about to end on pure happiness, the finale delivered a twist so powerful, it completely changed the future of the entire town. Nathan finally took the biggest risk of his life, and Elizabeth's answer didn't just confirm a love story, it opened the door to a brand new era. But then, out of nowhere, a familiar face returned. And it wasn't just emotional, it was shocking. Because Abigail Stanton didn't come back for a simple visit. Her return felt like destiny, and also like a warning. And if the Season 14 first look is telling us anything, it's this. Hope Valley is about to face its most dramatic chapter yet. Season 13 of When Calls the Heart didn't just deliver a finale, it delivered a moment that felt like the entire show had been building toward it for years. The episode opened with that familiar feeling in Hope Valley, the kind of warmth that makes everything look peaceful on the outside, even though emotions are running wild underneath. And from the very beginning, you could feel that Nathan Thornton was carrying something heavy on his shoulders. It wasn't fear like we've seen before in the past. This was deeper. This was the kind of fear that only comes when you know you're about to change your entire life with one sentence. Nathan has always been the strong Mountie, the one who rides into danger without hesitation, the one who stays calm when everyone else is panicking. But in this finale, the writers stripped away the uniform and showed us the man underneath it. And that's what made the proposal scene hit so hard. Nathan didn't choose a crowded celebration, he didn't choose a big dramatic moment in the middle of town, and he didn't make it into some public show. Instead, he chose meaning. He chose the bridge. And that detail alone says everything, because the bridge isn't just a romantic location. It's a symbol of Elizabeth's entire journey. It's where she has stood through grief, through uncertainty, through loneliness, and through healing. It's where she learned to move forward after losing Jack. And now, it became the place where she was offered a brand new future. The moment Nathan led Elizabeth there, you could see it in his face. He wasn't just planning to ask her to marry him. He was preparing to hand her his entire heart, knowing fully that she could crush it with a single word. And the most powerful part was how quiet the scene felt. No distractions, no noise. Just two people, standing in a place that has watched them grow. Nathan's voice didn't sound like a confident Mountie this time. It sounded like someone who had practiced the words 100 times but still couldn't stop his hands from shaking. And when he started talking about Elizabeth and little Jack, it felt like the entire atmosphere changed because Nathan didn't just propose to Elizabeth the woman, he proposed to Elizabeth the mother, the widow, the teacher, the survivor. He made it clear that her son wasn't a complication in his life, he was part of the blessing. And that's why fans couldn't stop tearing up. Nathan didn't promise a perfect life. He promised devotion. He promised protection. He promised that Hope Valley wasn't just a place where they lived. It was their home. Then came the ring. And when Nathan pulled it out, it wasn't just a romantic gesture. It was a statement that he was ready to step fully into the life Elizabeth has built, ready to become a permanent part of her story. And Elizabeth's reaction was everything. It wasn't some quick smile or an instant yes. It was that silent pause, the kind of pause that carries years of emotion. You could see her mind flashing back to every heartbreak, every sacrifice, every moment where she thought love might never feel safe again. And in that silence, it felt like the entire fandom was holding their breath. Because this wasn't just about Nathan. This was about whether Elizabeth was finally ready to open her heart completely again. And when she finally said yes, it didn't feel like a normal engagement. It felt like closure. It felt like healing. It felt like Hope Valley itself had finally allowed her to step into the future without guilt. The way they embraced afterward wasn't rushed. It wasn't dramatic. It was real. And the camera pulling back to show the valley wasn't just a pretty shot. It was a message. It was the show telling us that something huge has changed, that the old chapter is officially closed and a new one is beginning. But of course, this is When Calls the Heart. The writers never let joy stay untouched for too long, because right when the proposal gave fans the happiest moment of the season, something else started creeping into the finale like a shadow. A sound, the sound of wheels, a carriage arriving at the edge of town, and at first it seemed harmless, just another traveler coming through Hope Valley. But the mood shifted immediately because the show didn't frame it like a normal arrival. It framed it like an event, like a destiny unfolding. The townspeople began to notice, faces turned, conversations stopped. And when the carriage door opened, everything changed. Because stepping out onto the dusty street was a woman fans never expected to see again. Abigail Stanton. And the second she appeared, it felt like the heartbeat of the show returned. It wasn't just shocking, it was emotional in a way that words can't even fully describe. Abigail wasn't just a character. She was the soul of Hope Valley, the one who helped build it, protect it, and guide it when everyone else was lost. And seeing her stand there again didn't feel like a random twist. It felt like the show was rewriting its own future. Elizabeth's face said everything. The disbelief, the joy, the sudden wave of memories. Because Abigail's return doesn't just mean a reunion. It means something bigger is coming. Something that requires her presence. Something that the town may not survive without her. And as Abigail looked around at the buildings, the people, the streets she once walked like they were family, it felt like she wasn't just returning to Hope Valley. She was returning to unfinished business. The finale didn't even need long speeches because the silence was louder than words. The way the townspeople slowly stepped out, one by one, as if they couldn't believe their eyes. It felt like the entire town had been waiting for her without realizing it. And then came the real emotional punch, the reactions of the people who share the deepest history with her, especially Henry Gowan. Because when Henry saw Abigail again, it wasn't just surprise. It was regret, forgiveness, and years of complicated emotions crashing together in one single look. Their connection has always been one of the most unfinished stories in the series, and the finale made it clear that this storyline is far from over. Abigail's return isn't only about nostalgia. It's about leadership. Hope Valley has changed. The world is changing. The 1920s are bringing new technology, new politics, new struggles, and the town is heading into an era where the old rules won't protect them anymore. And that's what makes Abigail's timing feel so suspicious, because she didn't return during peace. She returned during transition. Right when Elizabeth is preparing for a wedding that could become the biggest event Hope Valley has ever seen. Right when Nathan is stepping into the role of husband and father. Right when the town is shifting into something new. Abigail's return feels like the missing piece to a puzzle, but also like a warning sign that the puzzle is about to become darker. And as the finale ended, it left fans with that warm feeling of love, but also the unsettling sense that something is coming. Because yes, Nathan proposed. Yes, Elizabeth said yes. Yes, the town celebrated. But the truth is, season 13 didn't end with peace. It ended with a door opening. And once Abigail walked through it, there was no going back. As shocking as Abigail Stanton's return was, the most chilling part wasn't the fact that she came back. It was the way the entire town reacted, as if they had been waiting for her without even realizing it. Hope Valley has always been the kind of place where every person feels like family. But for years there has been a quiet emptiness in the background, like something important was missing. And the second Abigail stepped onto that street, that emptiness vanished instantly. The air shifted. People stopped walking. Conversations faded out. Even the usual warmth of the town seemed to pause for just a moment, as if Hope Valley itself needed time to process what it was seeing. Abigail didn't walk in like a visitor. She walked in like someone who belonged there more than anyone else, and that's what made the scene so powerful. It didn't feel like a random surprise cameo designed to excite the fans. It felt like a turning point, like the story was suddenly reconnecting with its original heart. But what makes Abigail's return even more intense is the fact that she didn't arrive smiling and laughing like someone returning home for a celebration. She arrived with a quiet seriousness in her eyes. She looked around at the town like she was proud of what it had become, but also like she could sense danger hiding beneath the surface. That expression alone raised so many questions. Why now? Why return at the exact moment Elizabeth and Nathan's love story reaches its peak? Why step back into Hope Valley just as the town is preparing for a brand new future? Because this isn't just about old friendships and warm reunions. Abigail is not the kind of character who comes back without a reason. Why now? Why return at the exact moment Elizabeth and Nathan's love story reaches its peak? Why step back into Hope Valley just as the town is preparing for a brand new future? Because this isn't just about old friendships and warm reunions. Abigail is not the kind of character who comes back without a reason. She is a woman who carries wisdom, strength, and purpose. And the finale made it feel like her purpose is about to collide with everything the town is about to face. The writers knew exactly what they were doing by bringing her back right after Nathan's proposal. It created an emotional contrast that was almost overwhelming. One moment we're watching the beginning of a new love chapter, and the next moment we're watching the return of the woman who represents the foundation of the entire town. It's like Hope Valley is standing between two worlds, the past and the future. And Abigail is the bridge between them. But the real tension comes from what Abigail's return could awaken. Because Abigail isn't just Elizabeth's best friend. She has history with almost everyone. She knows the secrets of Hope Valley, the pain people have buried, the mistakes they've tried to forget, and the choices that still haunt them. And if she is back for good, that means those unfinished stories are about to rise again. The finale gave us a glimpse of that through one of the most emotional silent moments of the episode. Henry Gowan seeing Abigail again. That look between them wasn't just about friendship. It wasn't just about being happy to see an old face. It was something deeper, something unfinished. For years, Henry has been trying to rebuild himself, trying to prove he is no longer the man he once was. But Abigail was always the person who saw the best in him, even when he didn't deserve it. And seeing her again instantly brought back that complicated emotional weight. It felt like Henry was standing face to face with his past and with the one person who truly understood his struggle. Their reunion didn't need dramatic music or long speeches. The silence said everything. It felt like forgiveness hanging in the air, but also like a reminder that their story was never properly closed. Fans have waited nearly a decade to see that connection revisited, and now the show has reopened the door in the most powerful way possible. And then there's Bill Avery. If Abigail returns to a leadership role, Bill's world is about to shift completely. Because Bill has been one of the strongest protectors of Hope Valley in recent seasons, but Abigail's presence brings a different kind of authority. She isn't law enforcement, she's something else. She's moral leadership. She's the kind of person who can calm an entire town with just her voice. And the moment she returns, the balance of power in Hope Valley changes. Suddenly, Rosemary and Lee aren't the only ones holding the community together. Suddenly, Elizabeth isn't carrying the emotional weight of the town alone. Suddenly, Hope Valley has its original pillar back. But that doesn't mean everything will become easier. In fact, it could make things even more complicated. Because when Abigail comes back, she doesn't just bring comfort. She brings expectations. She brings standards. And she brings truth. And truth is dangerous in a town where so many people are hiding wounds they don't want reopened. The finale didn't directly show Abigail speaking about why she returned, but that's what makes it even more suspenseful. The show deliberately held back information, forcing the audience to wonder if Abigail has returned because she missed her home, or because she knows something the rest of the town doesn't. And when you look at the way the finale was structured, it almost feels like the writers are setting up Abigail as the key player for Season 14's biggest conflict. Hope Valley is entering the mid-1920s. And that time period is not just about new fashion and new music. It's about a world changing faster than people can handle. New technology is coming. Politics are becoming more intense. Power is shifting. And towns like Hope Valley, built on tradition and community values, will have to fight to keep their identity. That is exactly the kind of fight Abigail was made for. But even more than that, her return comes at a time when Elizabeth is preparing to build a new life with Nathan, and that's where the emotional tension becomes even stronger. Because Elizabeth has grown so much since the early seasons. She has become more independent, more confident, and more aware of what she truly wants. But Abigail's presence could bring back the old version of Elizabeth too. The version who leaned on her friend for guidance. The version who needed reassurance. And while that might sound comforting, It also creates a question that season 14 will likely explore deeply. Will Abigail's return strengthen Elizabeth's future,